Watching a random seasonal anime feels like eating the food of a hyperactive cook. Just let me explain. The food they threw in there made for an ungodly twisted dish some dare to call edible. So you end up with an isekai about a vending machine or a plot that's way too complicated and predictable for me to care. Or sometimes it seems like the chef showed up 2 hours late to the cook-off and ended up giving you some of the most generic anime ever. The result just stays the same. You either made it through the series and told yourself, meh, and moved on with your life, or stopped the series never to be continued again. Not every series has an unforgettable cast aside with a memorable story, but that doesn't mean it's bad. For example, there's this anime is set in medieval Japan in a world where in each corner lies a mushi, a primitive form of life, barely conscious, but only a selected few are able to see them. We follow Gekkou, a mushi master. Not only can he see them, but he also studies them. In order to see as much of mushis as he can, he travels throughout all of Japan. That's it. Nothing more to say. It just helps people troubled by the mushis along the way. But this show is one I'm sure you'll remember anyways. Each episode is a different place, at a different time, with different mushis. No need to remember what each mushi does, because nothing is there to keep the episodes together. You could watch the entire series from the last episode to the first, and you clearly wouldn't be lost. Gekkou is an incredibly chill dude, and some designs of the mushis are incredibly memorable, but I don't watch Mushishi only for this. I get this. Each episode, we follow confused people. Maybe the mushi started to mess with them, maybe something else happened beforehand. But they're confused, lost as to what's happening to them. And so, Gekkou tries to help them the best he can. Obviously, each episode is mushi related, but it always goes deeper than that. But Gekkou is no savior in shining armor. He knows very well what he can't do. He knows that sometimes people can only be saved by themselves. As a result, some episodes end well, some others don't. Even though we don't have a fixed set of characters to grow with, the few souls we meet are unforgettable encounters that sometimes end up changing Gekkou for the better. And that's a quality shared with other great series. But all those mini-dramas aren't everything Mushishi has to offer. You know what's cool with great series? Is that you don't have to be like those wannabe movie heads telling yourself, what a narrative masterpiece, I'm telling you. He's outdone himself this time, I must admit it, to enjoy a series. And that's because it's got... I do think the vibes are important for a show because it determines its legacy. How much this series would stand out from everything else in 10 years' time. Sometimes the plot is good, but you just don't get much out of it. For example, for me there's Prisoners. I did like watching this, and I don't doubt anyone loving this movie. However, my remembrance of the plot is none, the mark left by the characters is 0, and the impact on this film on my person is null. So what do I get out of it? That's right, absolutely fucking nothing! Let's take a movie I remember better than Prisoners. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. 2. Never watched the first one. I watched it like 10 years ago and I still remember being immersed in this world and having a rare sensation of discovery. I remember the cop, the chick, the fucking strawberry, the dad and the main character who's an absolute lunatic. Compared to this, watching Prisoners not even a year ago just felt like watching a worse version of what I've already seen multiple times. So, what about Mushishi? My original thought when watching this was, it's a shame I can't always understand what the show is trying to tell me. But it's okay, because it's not its first intention. The fact all the episodes are completely disconnected means the creator wanted you to discover this world on a random Saturday night when you didn't know what else to watch on the cable. I imagined someone finding this show like that, and falling asleep to it, never to find the show again, and I'm telling you, it will leave a pretty deep mark on you. Nothing specifically intense is ever happening in the show, so that leaves more room for incredibly well-made backgrounds and softly animated character among a supernatural setting. The soundtrack follows as well with an opening that doesn't go "Holy shit, did you fucking see that? Oh my god, that was so fucking high!" but more like... And the entire soundtrack reflects the stillness of the show and how whimsical the Mushis are. While editing, I realized they made a different song for each episode, which really shows how much they care about every little storyline. Along with that, we've got literal paintings as frames, with an art that stands out from a lot of Japanese folklore-inspired animes. And the best is that, as Gekkou is traveling through Japan, so are we. When watching Mushishi, you can visibly see that Gekkou is in a different place every time. Maybe the mountains aren't as high, the forest not as dense, maybe the color of the sky is slightly different. These teeny tiny differences make for an immersive atmosphere among creatures that are neither bad nor good, just part of nature. I don't think I could ever watch a more peaceful anime. Everything about this show is here to make you feel like you've got those weird metal thingies scratching your head. You just sit here and appreciate the moment. You don't really want to stay like a prick doing this for 2 hours, so obviously go on with your life.
Oh shit!
But eventually, at some point, you're gonna come back to it, and for 20 minutes in a while, you're gonna sit here and turn your brain off. I've been watching this show like that for 2 years, and I'm sure I'm not the only one doing so. So whenever I just experience absolute peak putain de merde or pure narrative garbage, I know it's always a mood for watching Mushishi. If you don't know what to watch before going to bed, but don't feel like watching anything specific, please just give Mushishi a chance. Some bad bitch